Talking about how the lovely GPS is on and how it might interrupt this call a little bit, but that's okay. The reason I wanted to talk to everyone today is to talk about investors, real estate investors, and how they're affecting the market. So there's a new study that came out that says that small investors are taking over 60% of new investments. So compared to like your large institutional investors, that means that small mom and pop investors, people who are everyday investors, are taking a longer view and like, hey, we should buy now before prices increase, because we're probably gonna have inflation due to all the material price surges before anything else happens, because you don't know what's going to happen to interest rates. Hopefully they're going to go down, but who knows with everything. If inflation starts happening, Jerome Powell said he wants to make sure he fights off inflation first and foremost. That's what he is there for. He is an inflation hawk. So it's very important to know what happens at that point. Now, why is it so important that investors are taking over such a large percentage of purchases? Well, the reason why this is
West
important,
Irving Park Road for 1 mile.
and thank you for those who are joining. I see some more people joining right now. The reason it's so important that small mom and pop investors are getting on board is because small mom and pop investors have more tolerance for risk, because you're in a somewhat risky environment. And also, in addition to that, what you're finding is that large institutional investors don't want to take on the risk right now, and new home buyers are afraid to do stuff. It's actually one of the things that is a little scary, because if you don't have home buyers in the market as much, you're going to have problems, because long term you want to have home buyers. It's good to have investors, but you want to have people getting into the market, because if they're not getting into the market, real estate, it's the biggest cash savings device you could probably have for retirement. And I mean, that's been a very common thing. Now, not just going to talk about like, hey, why it's good to have it as a primary home, but there's statistics after statistic after statistic show that having a home is the biggest path to being a millionaire in this country, and people who have homes have more money saved up. So if we're going to go by that metric, and we're not seeing as many people buying homes, we're seeing small investors, that's good for investors. But it's a little scary for the American economy at large, because it means we're not going to have as many people in a financial position who are ready to retire. And that's a huge deal. So, hi, by the way, I'm seeing some more people come in. Thank you so much for joining us. Talking today about the importance of having small investors in the market and how that's changing everything right now, because small investors are the most active component of the real estate market in terms of buyers. They're more active than large investors, because large investors are taking a look and saying, hey, look at all the complexities going on in the market. We're going to just hold on to our cash. We're going to keep deriving some cash flow from the properties we have, but we're not going to buy new ones. Small investors like, look, we want to get in on this. We want to get in now. And it's so important to know why you need to get in on that, because if you don't get in on this, you're going to have higher prices later on. I mean, that's guaranteed. Real estate prices might go down or dip a little bit at some point, but even with the crash in '08, you still had prices eventually go back up. I bought some property in Florida which got destroyed. It's worth more now than it was a few years ago. So loving the hearts, loving highs. So if you're having any thoughts on this, let me know. I definitely want to get your opinion. But from what I could see, if we have only investors buying properties, we're going to have trouble with fix and flips, because you don't have end buyers to buy the property. Secondly, if large investments or large institutional investors are not buying, that means you have a lack of capital in the market. So you're going to find that that's going to transfer down the line, because if they're not buying property, that means they're not giving money to other investors, which means that those investors aren't in turn giving money to more investors. So there's definitely some trickle down theory that'll work here. Third, in addition to that, small investors are great, but if something goes wrong, they're more likely to walk away, which means that we could be seeing the beginning of a foreclosure boom in 2 years from now, because if small investors are buying and no one else is, it's probably as much speculation as anything else. And that's kind of what we saw in 2008. And what happens then in 2 years when therefore they get foreclosed on? You're not going to keep that property. I mean, it's reality. As an investor, you're not keeping the property if you're getting foreclosed on, because you're not going to fight as hard as if you did live there. So those are my thoughts. Those are my ideas on what's going on I'm definitely curious to see if anyone here has any thoughts. If not, love to help you.
There's a lane closure ahead.
Whoop. There's a lane closure ahead, just so you know. We're in Chicago. That's what happens. You get a lot of lane closures. For those of you who are looking to buy, let me know how we can help you. We have great programs to help make sure that your property looks right. If you want to stay in your property and you don't want to buy because you're like, hey, look, this is too expensive to buy, let us know. We can help you stay in place. I mean, we have some great programs to help update your bathroom, update your kitchen, add some new spaces. Whatever you're looking for, let us know how we can help. This is Andy Nathan with Creative Smart Contractors. Woo, it's even on the name. Creative Smart Contractors, you can go to creativesmartcontractors.com for more information. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. This is Creative Smart Contractors. Have a great day and a better week. Thank you so much.